Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Welcome back. This is Which Ways Up. Today we have a very, very special person on.
Yay!
What's your name?
My name is Isabella.
Isabella.
Vera.
I'm also Isabella, so.
Yeah, we're both Isabellas.
So yeah, we were thinking about what to talk about, and something came to my mind, which was parents and relationships with parents. So for me, it was a very hard time in high school, and maybe a little bit now, with my parents, with my mom and my dad. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you. How was your?
My relationship with my parents, they got divorced at a really young age. So, like, that was a kind of already a factor. But during, like, me and my dad during, like, adolescence was good. And then, like, middle school and high school was super bad. And then it got better as we got older. But it was very rocky. I didn't realize that relationship with parents were actually supposed to be, like, relational. That you could actually
Connect with them?
Yeah. Sometimes we'd go days without talking. We were in the same house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because my downfall was high school too with my parents.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's high school?
Well, my mom definitely had something like mental health going on. And my dad was definitely still like suffering after the divorce. With all that. So they had that on their own plates and then kind of trying to figure out how to parent. And not alone that, but just seeing the way that their parents treated them. Like, it makes sense when it's all they know. I'm not saying it's right, but it when it's all that you've seen, it's not surprising when it's all that you do.
Wow.
And then also, I think high school is when I started, actually like late 8th grade. High school is when I started to just get a very, I love talking back. So it was just.
Me too, girl.
I was like, I gotta be right. I was like, you wronged me, parents. And you can only imagine how that went. But it was a very fearful relationship, I can't lie. And kind of this like dynamic that was very, like I was saying, it didn't feel like actual relationship. It felt more so like you're just my parents by name.
When was that shift? Because you grow up thinking your parents are like your heroes, which they still can be, right? But when you grow up and you realize that they're not perfect, like, do you recall like a time where you realized that?
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember this moment so vividly in a sense of like when I thought they were like perfect. And I remember I was probably like 8 years old. And I remember we had watched a scary movie. It was nighttime and I was so scared. I was paranoid like a serial killer was going to come into our house and get us.
Aww.
And I remember being with my mom. I was like, oh, it's okay. My mom will protect me. And like having that thought, I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, what? My parents are always going to protect me. And then it was genuinely like after the divorce that it felt like a switch that I didn't recognize my parents. That I was truly like, what in the world? And like, as you get older, and especially with school and stuff like that, I was like, my parents aren't here. I was like, they can only do so much. I mean, kind of that independence where like that relationship is absent, so that it didn't feel like there was any security or safety in them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about yours.
Wow. Well, I grew up young, as everyone does, a young child, and I still view my parents higher, of course, just in different ways. Like, you grow up thinking like I said, like your parents are your heroes, and I know when it switched when I started realizing the world wasn't as perfect as I thought it would be. Like, you think it's like sunshine and rainbows, and everyone is going to act the way that you want them to. Everyone's going to treat you with love the way you want them to. But like, I think it came to a time and like a true reality check when I realized that love in my head wasn't what love actually was. And so when my parents also are divorced now, and my dad's not really in my life, and so that dynamic was really hard for me in high school. But my switch was, I would say, around the same. Like, around when that divorce happened, when you started kind of seeing all the bad and the ugly. But it's beautiful that now we can like testify, like, even through the bad and the ugly,
Yeah.
there is love still there. So
Yeah.
just a little bit of me. We want to dive into the question?
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah.
Hello.
The first question is what or how did your family dynamic growing up change your view on love? Wait, I didn't think about this one.
I kind of have an answer. Are you okay if I go first? Oh my gosh. Actually, I like my sushi too. We have sushi now. I thought that love was perfect and love was limited to what it was in my head. I thought love was when you're only happy with your parents. Like, I thought it was the times where, oh, my mom was just, I guess, conditional. When we were like happy with each other, when we were not fighting, when I wasn't fighting with my dad, when my dad told me he was proud of me. Okay, now he loves me. So it changed my view on love so much because it warped something that's actually so beautiful, something that's actually sacrificial, and I didn't think it was sacrificial. I view it as just like, what's the word? Situational, if that makes sense. How did love, I don't know why I'm grabbing my sushi like that. I'm putting this thing down. It's so good. How did love warp your perception on just life?
I didn't realize my perception of love was warped until like afterwards and becoming a Christian and seeing what Jesus's love was like.
Wow.
Because like what you're saying, it was very conditional. And I didn't realize when it's all you grew up in, you don't realize that those things are abnormal. Like you don't realize, oh, for me at least, like this is not how love works. I didn't have an example of what actual love was like. So there's nothing to compare it to. So when I saw a distant relationship with my parents, I thought that was normal. I was shocked when like my friends would tell me like, oh, I tell my mom everything. What? So when I saw that, or like, or my dad being really easily angered, like I'd be so, if he was calling me, I'd be so afraid to pick up the phone. I'd be so scared. Like I would genuinely like start going into panic attacks sometimes. And this like very like merit based, like you do this, or like just everything I did would aggravate my mom or stuff like that. And they have come such a long way, and so have I. So I don't want to speak for their character, but they were obviously going through a very difficult patch. And it's hard when you as a kid look up to your parents and they're supposed to kind of set that example. But then after coming to know Jesus and seeing that he is patient and kind and his love is not conditional. And it was so hard to believe at first because when all you know in the physical is that condition love, to believe it in the spiritual is so much harder that it's not conditioned. So it was this whole like epiphany I was having of like, you mean to tell me like everything is like not what it seems? Like there's so much more. That was the greatest thing. Because and then that love penetrated my heart. But not only me, like that began to pour out and penetrate the hearts of my parents.
Wow.
That like they're now not the people.
Wow.
Like they're not the parents that I'm speaking of. During all of this. So kind of like I didn't really realize it was wrong until I realized what was right. That makes sense.
No, that makes sense. But I got so much, like, I'm listening, I'm in awe right now, but I also, like, am taking out, like, the fact that, like, love warps your lenses. Like, the wrong kind of love warps your lens on who your parents are. Yeah. And so it's cool, like, I mean, I also, like, Jesus has changed my relationship with my parents, and the way he's done it with the same as you is like he changes our hearts, but he also changes our eyes and the way we see them. And so like it's cool to see like, yes, we had to face that truth, that love, the love that we had, like the love that we had for them was warped, or the love that we experienced was warped. I literally forgot what I was gonna say. Anyways, we can just okay, let's jump to now. Love high school.
I'm eating sushi. Sorry.
She's eating sushi. Sushi. Susie. Who's Susie?
Like we're in college.
Okay, we're in college. Yeah, we're 21. She just
oh my gosh.
One yesterday. 21. Happy birthday to everyone sing it. No. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Hit that. Guys, I can't sing, and it makes me really sad.
You can. You see,
I'm glad that you have that belief. I'm glad that you have that trust.
you know, Justin Bieber once said, "Never say never."
Did he really say that?
Yeah,
Really?
it's a song.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna play it on a podcast after this. Okay, so we're jumping now. We're in college. I'm gonna give a brief update of my family.
Okay.
I have a relationship with my mom and my dad loosely, but it's not like the same as it was. Like, it wasn't rebelling. I'm not rebelling anymore. I love my dad. I love my mom now that I know what love is because of the love of Jesus.
Yeah.
And so, although things haven't changed, well, actually they have.
Okay.
Like,
can you explain what changed? Like, what do you mean by changed?
Well, my mom's heart changed because of literally the love of Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, she got saved, she got baptized, and we started just, I was praying and praying and praying, Lord, like, please heal my mom, like, please, like, because, you know, that stuff takes a toll on you. I mean, I had my issues, I still have my issues, like, and so he reconciled us, and she's my best friend now.
Wow.
My dad still, like, deals with mental health stuff and addiction, but I love him, and I see him, like, I hear him, and I love him. So, yeah. But how about you? What's going on now with your family and you?
Now, my dad is my best friend, and I love him.
Oh.
Like, I think I call him like 4 times a day. Because mind you, my parents live in a different state. So I love him so much. And my mom, I love her as well. Some days are harder than others, but even our hard days are better than our best days of when we were in our worst.
Wow.
And so I love her. She's also like one of my dearest friends that I love going to. And her and I have the same exact humor. So every time we just talk, which is also like every day, it's just straight laughing. And I love her because this is so much more than I could have ever imagined. It's like I have a relationship with my parents. And obviously there's still stuff we work through, and that's with everything. But to be able to sit here and say that is such like a testimony. It's so good. It's so good.
That is so good.
It's so good.
You know, there's something super funny.
Yeah.
So I used to hate my mom's style. Like, because I was like, no hate out there, no hate out, putting any hate. I used to wear like, a lot of black and a lot of crop tops, which is totally fine. Like, but it wasn't my mom's style. She was like, "Girl, what are you wearing?"
Oh, okay.
No, she was like,
I thought you said your mom was wearing all black and crop tops.
No. Praise God. But and she wore this like vintagey boho hippie stuff, and I was like,
oh,
ew. I was like,
she ate down.
I was like,
I know she did.
She did eat down. But now that I got older, the Lord changed my heart, and now my mom's my best friend. And guess who steals her clothes? Me. Because guess who has now her style? Me. So just a funny thing that we get to bond over because my mom is also my best friend. So yes, but let's dive into.
Yes.
Well, we say, okay, yeah. What works about your family now and what hurts you? Boundaries.
What works? Being far apart.
Hear me out.
Yeah, okay.
Closeness and unity is a good thing, but you can have unity with being far apart. Yeah. You can love somebody with distance. And that's the thing about family. Like, there's no hard feelings just because I don't live home anymore. I'm at college now. And there's sometimes there needs to be boundaries in order to get along. And that doesn't mean like I'm blocking you. That doesn't mean, I'm not calling you ever. That means, hey, I got my own life. There's some things I'm dealing with. I'm literally going through healing. Yeah. And I cannot talk. I know you're also healing too, but I can't, we can't put each other down. Like, two people that are healing cannot not communicate, but involve each other too much because you'll both just be talking about your problems. I'm talking specifically about my mom because we're both healing. We both have been through, she was through a bad divorce. My dad had abandoned us. And so since that, like, we can't talk about it. And there's that boundary too. Not talking about it, going to Jesus about it, praying about it on separate terms. And if it is brought up, hey mom, I can't talk about this. So that's where I'm at with what's working. With my dad, boundaries look like this is really sad. Boundaries can look like not talking at all right now. And it doesn't mean I don't love him. It just means that the Lord is protecting me from something that is happening. Because there is going to be restoration there.
Right.
And so praise God for boundaries, because even with friends and stuff, we can't always be at each other's tail end. Like, it's unhealthy. It is unhealthy, especially going back to where we're both healing.
I love that those boundaries are in place. And I want to emphasize that, like, boundaries don't mean the end of something. Because, for example, for me, when I didn't grow up with healthy relationships, I literally had to learn how to communicate healthily in a relationship. I only saw if there was an issue, you would argue and that was it. Or you would argue and then never speak to the person. So being able to take that initiative to love somebody and be like, I want to heal so that one day we can be like on par again. But right now, what that looks like is having those boundaries. Hey, I didn't forget about you, and hey, I still love you, but I want you to understand, for me to continue to do so and for me to heal, I need to take that moment to have these in place. And like having kind of that mentality, because it's so easy that when one thing goes wrong, to just cut the whole thing off and be like, well, no, I'm okay. And like this isn't really working. But it's like to love somebody is to try to make it work with all means, you know. Also, there take into account there's so many different situations. So always keeping that in your mind, but being able to set those boundaries healthily and communicate how you need to be loved, how you would like to be loved, and how the other person likes to be loved, and what you can do to kind of take that initiative. And that might start with like, I can't speak to you right now. I still love you, and I want there to be a day where we do, and I will work towards that. Me working towards that is taking this time to heal.
Wow, that's really good. Hi, this is Isabella here. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. This is just part 1, so tune in next Friday for part 2 to continue talking about parents and relationships with them.